FM 89.7, Power FM Livingston 102.4, and Beats TV Channel 92 on Topstar. Don't miss the live stream on YouTube and Facebook. Wherever you are, join the conversation. It's time to be informed, time to be empowered, time to be heard. The Political Podcast with Yowela Chomba. The views expressed on this program are not the views of the platform or the presenter.
All right, welcome to the Political Podcast. Today, the 28th of February, 2026. Again, it's a pleasure to be back. Your host, Yowela Chomba. Today's episode, we've got a renowned politician. Everybody knows him. Renowned lawyer, former member of the Patriotic Front, former Minister of Justice. Mr. Wynter Kabimba is with us today. He's also president of the Economic Front Party. So welcome to the Political Podcast.
Thank you, Yowela, and good morning, dear listeners.
Right, good to have you. For the listeners and viewers, just a reminder, as you've heard, we're live on Facebook. We're live on Beats TV Channel 92. That's on Topstar, and that's there for countrywide, but also simulcast live on Ya FM in Kitwe, which is all Copper Belt, Power FM Livingston, and Power FM Kabwe. So, to get started, sir, let me just tell us overview of what you think is the political landscape, how it is right now in the country.
That's a very blanket question.
Yes, sir.
It can take us the whole day.
Yeah.
But let me see if I can summarize it.
Yeah.
We all know that in 1991 the Zambians decided to get back to multi-party politics.
Right.
And that was a departure point after 17 years of the one-party state. And the excitement at the time, Yowela, those of us who were actively following the political landscape,
right,
was that democracy was going to deliver. That democracy, through one man, one vote, was going to save the leadership and give us the best of our citizens to run the affairs of this country.
Right.
It was different under UNIP because it was a one-party state, so there was a limited basket from which you picked out leaders. The party directed who should lead the affairs of this country.
Right.
So democracy was a departure point from that. The argument obviously being that the people will make a choice as to who should lead them, be it president, ministers, councillors, etc., etc.
Right.
And we've now been almost 1991 to 20, is it 35 years?
Yes.
Of this living in this democratic environment. And the political landscape now is seemingly consolidating this period of our democracy.
Right.
So we are at a point now where people are beginning to ask the question, people like myself, is democracy delivering? Is it delivering in terms of the material conditions of our people?
Right.
Mainly the ordinary people. What Frantz Fanon calls the wretched of the earth, the voiceless.
Right.
The people that have not been to school, they've not had the privilege of book education like you and I. And they depend largely on those of us that have gone to school to lead their affairs,
right,
and to see how their welfare gets improved. Democracy is being interrogated, in terms of economic delivery. Do we see an improvement in the living standards of our people? Do we see issues of inequality getting narrowed? Do we see an environment economically which improves our life expectancy. Unfortunately, the answers to most of these questions is no, 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 no.
Right.
So the next question is democracy therefore an illusion? Are we living in this illusion that we are going forward when we are going backwards, or maybe static? So our landscape is not different from many African countries, if not all of them, 54 members of the African Union. The story is the same.
Right.
Irrespective of the amount of natural resources that they have. DRC, for example, is the largest copper producing country in Africa and the fourth largest in the world, after Canada, Australia, having failed. And yet, DRC people, 54 million of them, 60 million, are just as poor as Burkina Faso, which doesn't have that amount of natural resources. So the question is why? Why is Angola the third, if not the second leading oil producing country in Africa after Nigeria?
Right.
Why are its people just as poor as Zambia or Botswana, which do not have oil resources? So there is a diversity of all these questions, which Power FM and the other sister radio stations and the other news outlets there should help us interrogate in the hope that we can find the answers and direct the discourse.
Right.
Let me tell you before we get to the larger part of the program. What disappoints me when I come to program like this, you've warned me that there is going to be a phone-in program.
Yes, we'll have callers.
Is how the callers trivialize national issues. Okay? And sometimes I sound rude because I realize that many of our people, in fact, the ones that should be more worried about their welfare, are very simplistic in these matters. I'm looking forward. I'm not looking forward to living in a utopian society, but I'm looking forward to a time in my life, hopefully in my lifetime, when the political consciousness of our citizens is going to be improved. It's going to be heightened. Okay? And when we reach that stage, when our people stop judging who Yowela Chomba is, not by his ethnic origin, not by the region where he comes from, but purely by character. What type of character is this person for us to entrust them with the responsibilities of leadership?
Right.
I think we'll be getting somewhere. We're still very far. So generally, that's how I would give the synopsis of what you call the political landscape.
That's good. Having said that, how would you then describe the first term of President Hakainde Hichilema's leadership under the UPND government?
It's been challenging.
Right.
It's been challenging in the sense that you have to answer that question using a comparative approach.
Right.
Okay. So you have to discuss or review the pre-independence, the pre-2021 period when UPND took over. Okay. The party in power then, the political party that I was proud to belong to, the Patriotic Front, which won a democratic election in 2011. We worked very hard to get PF into power. We had a vision. Michael Sata had a vision I interacted with him on a daily basis.
Right.
And I can vouch and lend testimony to the vision that he had for this country, especially for the poor people of this country. So PF was the vehicle of vision at the time as we saw it, and a vehicle that was going to turn the fortunes of the Zambian people into a society of dignity. Michael Sata used to use a phrase, I want to give the Zambians back the dignity which they deserve as human beings.
Right.
That was his vision. Unfortunately, it couldn't be realized because Michael Sata died on the 28th of October 2014. And ECO took over. But the major burden that PF had at the time, which continued up to 2021, was the debt portfolio.
Right.
I was part of many cabinet meetings that approved the borrowing of money from creditors outside, private and the multilateral.
Multilateral, Eurobond.
And the reason was noble. Michael Sata's vision was that he wanted to invest into road infrastructure development and open up this country and interlink districts and interlink provinces. But I think we didn't get the correct details. I came to learn later. You've mentioned the Eurobond. Now, the Eurobond arrangement is money put together by private individuals.
Right.
In the Western countries.
Correct.
At the time when the interest rates in those countries are low, because they're very serious in those countries about interest rates. So when they realize that the interest rates are low and they can make money from their countries, they come together and put that money together, go to a bank or a couple of banks and say to the bank, we have money that you can lend out for us to Africa and other third world countries at such and such interest rate. Okay? So they lend that money to us and speculate the rise of interest rates in their countries.
Right.
That is the Eurobond. So it is private money. The other aspect of money obviously comes through this IMF arrangement, balance of payments. So we are told by the IMF that, look, we can give you money, but on condition that you put in place these measures. And the measures are largely prescriptions which first they have to strangle the economy and the people before they can realize those results. I've had an argument, and I think I'm not the only one, that nowhere in Africa, and even beyond Africa, has any IMF program ever worked or boosted the economy of a country. So that was the era, the pre-2021 era. 2021, August, UPND wins the election, and they find themselves with this albatross of the debt portfolio. Unfortunately, and they had no choice out of this. Didn't matter who would have taken over in 2021. They could have only gone one route.
Back to the debtors.
Back to the creditors.
The creditors, rather. Yeah.
Back to the creditors. And the creditors have a condition. Okay? If somebody wants to come and borrow money from me, I'll say to them, listen, the only person really who can recommend you to me that you are credited with is my friend Chomba. So go and get a letter of recommendation from him if you want money from me. So when UPND was trying to restructure the debt to create some breathing space in the hope that what they are going to save from the servicing of the debt, because PF had defaulted.
Right.
They hit into the wall of these creditors that said, well, the only way we can speak to you and listen to you is if you come through the IMF. So UPND had no choice but to go back to the IMF, and ECA was very reluctant to go the IMF route, and that compounded the problem. So HH had to humble himself to go back to the IMF, speak to the creditors through the IMF in the hope that he can create this breathing space. Now, the result of that, as you have seen, it has taken almost 4 years,
right,
to complete the restructuring of the debt process. It's been an elaborate process. So to hope to see the results within 4 years as the debt is being restructured is almost impossible. That's the reality on the ground. But UPND has had its own problems, you know, and I'm very critical of some of the things that they have done, which in my view, I thought that they had learned a lesson from the PF. Okay? Some of them are institutional structures.
Right, within the party.
Within the party and outside the party. Okay? They have managed to reduce the cadreism culture of impunity that we saw under PF. I know the PF don't want to hear this, but I don't own the truth. The duty I have is to speak the truth. They've managed to reduce, you know, this cadreism because it was chaotic, it was nauseating under PF. It was a river that has burst its banks. To use the rain season as an example, it was out of control. ECA was helpless. He was hostage to this criminal culture that existed in PF. And UPND rightly so condemned it. The issue of illegal levies in the markets.
Right.
Illegal levies at bus stops. Unfortunately, it still does exist to some degree. I know UPND have denied this as a fact, but it is true. And I give an example. I had a truck that was doing a bit of business. I gave it to my boys, do a bit of business and look after yourselves. It was parking at Buseko Market. There is a character there who calls himself a chairman, who is UPND. And you know what he does? Every load that you have,
he collects levy.
He collects a levy. The guy is just a criminal. He comes from his house, wherever he lives, where he'll be, you know, clad in a suit and a necktie, and sits there collecting money from people which he has not worked for. There's no difference. He probably gravitated from PF to UPND. Okay? And I was disappointed when the provincial chairman, my brother-in-law Mwape, featured on the ZNBC Sunday interview, and he was challenged with this question by the interviewer, and he said,
there's no colorism.
No, he said he knew nothing about that. In fact, he said, I'll go and find out. Okay? Now, the point is this, that it is partly colorism that put a death nail in the coffin of PF. And Zambians watch the marketeers, the bus operators, the passengers on those buses that shed tears under this culture of colorism. Their tears will not be in vain. They were not in vain under PF, they will not be in vain under UPND if UPND doesn't deal with this matter. Okay? So I've given you the two dimensions, the economic dimension and the political dimension of the 4 years of UPND in power.
Right. From the two dimensions, sir, the economic dimension, your conclusion was that the UPND cannot reverse or come out of the quagmire that they found under PF economically.
No.
You sound like they deserve to go another 4 or 5 years to see the results.
No.
But on the political front, the issues still remain, maybe even on a social front. So I would ask you, do you think, even without concluding the restructure of the debt and the economic issues that has affected Zambians, thereof, the UPND still deserves to be in power, or they should move out?
No, I don't. I'm not the right person to answer that question.
The people are.
Okay? I'm not the right person, to answer that question. The only thing that I can do is help the people understand what the problem is. I know they know what the problem is, but they may not fully understand what the problem is. For example, I'll tell you, there are some people that say if they became presidents tomorrow, they would end the load shedding in a week. Nonsense. There are people that go around when they find a small crowd of people. No. The problem with load shedding is HH. If we removed HH and I became president tomorrow I would end load shedding in a month time. Nonsense. Okay? Because load shedding has a historical context to it. There has not been any meaningful investment in ZESCO, the corporation, the parastatal that is vested with the responsibility of generating and distributing power in this country. We don't own any technology, Chomba, in this country. So even a boat of a turbine at Kafue Lower Gorge, we have to import that from China. A boat. It is not made anywhere in any industry in Lusaka or in Zambia at large. That is how vulnerable a company, a corporation like ZESCO is. Collateral to that is the exponential rise in the population. ZESCO has not been able to plan its power generation and distribution to match with the population increase. So you have a population which is running way ahead of the amount of power that ZESCO
is generating,
is able to produce. So this has nothing to do with who heads ZESCO. Okay? The previous governments have done it. They've made political appointments at ZESCO. They fire this, RB comes in, Manasseh comes in, fires, the ZESCO managing director, and he appoints, his own person. RB comes in, fires the ZESCO managing director, appoints his own person. SATA comes in, does the same. The only time when we have seen a change is now, that ZESCO was able to appoint a managing director from within itself, who is seemingly not a political employee, but is a qualified person who has grown up in ZESCO and understands the problems of ZESCO. So really, to be realistic, it is not the issue of who goes out and who comes in. It is a question of understanding what the problems are. So if the Zambian people believe that those politicians who are saying that they can end load shedding in a week's time and want to vote for them, that is entirely their choice. Okay? My duty as a citizen is to share my knowledge that that is impossible. Okay? We also have to know and understand that this economy is a third world economy.
Right.
It was not designed by the Zambians. It has never been designed by the Zambians. Even our colleagues who call themselves economists and members of the Economic Association of Zambia have never designed this economy. This economy was designed by the imperial powers. A group of European nations that were fighting to design the boundaries of African countries and decided with arrogance to meet in Berlin under the chairmanship of Chancellor Bismarck in 1884 and 85 to carve out Africa. They are the people that designed the African economies.
Right.
And they designed them not to serve the African, you and I. They designed them to serve the industries in the Western world. Okay? And that has been added on to the multilateral institutions which were created after the First World War, namely the World Bank and the IMF. I'm sure you know the rules of the two. The rules of running those institutions are as follows. The World Bank president must always be American and appointed by the American president. Is a political appointee of the American president.
Right.
The managing director of the IMF must be from a European country. Okay? That is how the charter of the incorporating instruments of those two institutions are designed. You will never see an African becoming a managing director of the IMF. You will never see an African becoming president of the World Bank. And it's not very difficult. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand why that is so.
Right.
So these economies were designed in such a way that they continue serving the interest of Europe and America and not Africa. And we have seen leaders, African leaders, that have tried to interrogate that relationship which has been standing from 1945 and especially in the post-independence era of African countries.
Correct.
They have been assassinated. Lumumba was assassinated. Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown. What is his name in Burkina Faso was assassinated. Thomas Sankara was assassinated. Many African leaders. Okay, Ouattara in
Ivory Coast.
Côte d'Ivoire. Okay, was overthrown, taken, to the Hague on purported criminal charges. Luckily for the guy, was innocent, but that was not even the point. The point was for France to find its puppet to run Côte d'Ivoire, so that they can continue exploiting the Ivorians to grow coffee and pay them peanuts and go and make chocolates in Switzerland and export that, that chocolate to the owners of the coffee that grow it, who can't even afford to pay for it. So, that's my understanding of this economy. So anybody who says that you are going to get to a point where this economy is going to uplift the lives of the Zambian people, I hope they can do it in my lifetime. But I doubt.
Right. Let's talk about the Economic Front Party.
Yes.
I know after you left the Patriotic Front, you set up Rainbow Party.
Yes.
But then fast forward, now we've got the Economic Front Party.
Yes.
Tell us about the party and how do you position yourself? I ask this because there's sections that say it's just a puppet party, but you are still in support of the president, simply because you went to Community House. So maybe just clarify that. What is the Economic Front Party about? And for people listening who could have an interest, maybe you can sell the party for maybe 2-3 minutes.
Look, we broke away from PF in November of 2014. Okay? Why? We didn't do so, Chomba, because we wanted to form a political party. We did so because we refused to be complicity in the goings on in the PF.
Right.
The gross indiscipline and cadreism that emerged in PF after the demise of Michael Sata.
Right.
That's the reason why we walked out. So we walked away from PF on principle.
Right.
We didn't walk away because I wanted to be president of a political party. In fact, after I resigned from PF on the 14th of November 2014, I didn't want to continue with politics.
Right.
My colleagues had to come to my house and persuade me and say, we can't stop here. We have to continue. And I'm proud to say that many of the people that we started with at the time in the Rainbow Party are still there in the Economic Front today.
Okay.
So what are we? We have a slogan: our economy, our freedom. We believe that the only way the Zambian people are going to be free is to own and run the economy of this country. That's what we believe in. Okay? Are we an independent political party? Yes. Yes. Do we seek relationships with other political parties? Yes. We did so in the 2020-2021 with the PF. We were not called the puppets. But when we announced that we want to engage UPND, then we become puppets. When I'm seen with the president at Community House, then I've gone to look for a job. Then I've gone to sell out. Okay? But you also have to be mindful of who says that. Okay? There are many people that would like to meet HH. Many. And because they don't have the opportunity to do so, they are bitter. I've met some of them that have said to me, oh no, he promised to meet me. But you see, every time I want to meet him now, and the next time we will hear, they are screaming diatribes against the man. I'm not that kind of person. Okay? If I think there is need to meet the president, I'll ask for a meeting with him. Because he's discharging a public function.
Right.
He's president of this country. Okay? I'll tell you this incident. During PF, I went to State House one day and I found Mr. Sata there, and he showed me a letter. And in that letter, he was responding to HH. HH had written to President Sata raising certain matters of national interest, including the economy. And Mr. Sata writes a letter back to HH, I hope he still has it today, in which he says, I don't have time, to answer, to respond to your letter because it is childish, or something to that effect. Right. I can't remember the exact words. You know what I told Mr. Sata? You can't write a letter like this to a citizen as president. I told Mr. Sata, you can't write a letter like this to a private citizen, a Zambian, that is simply asking how things are going in the country. Because you are responsible to the citizens of Zambia.
Right.
And your response does not depend on whether or not you like that person. The duty you are elected to discharge is to be fair and also to be courteous and respectful to every Zambian citizen. So when I have issues to raise and I think I should raise them with the president in private, I'll seek audience and go and speak to him. Okay? And therefore, anybody who thinks that, and I've heard this, that maybe I'm looking for a job. I'm not looking for a job. I can look after myself now. I'm sure even the president knows that I can't look for a job in the public service. He knows. Okay? But you see, don't forget that I represent a group of people in this country, members of the economic front.
Right.
And I have a duty to convey to the president what they say to me. That's why I'm their leader.
Right.
So I don't speak for myself. Even now, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm representing members of the economic front. I also don't play, petty politics, Chomba. I don't play petty politics. That's why you will not find me in groups. I play politics which I think are of benefit to my country.
Right.
So, there are certain things that I'm made to say because members of the economic front say so. I'll give an example this morning. One of the reasons why I came late, I told you, is because I thought you were still in doing water.
Yes.
And when I was coming here, I found one of my guys here, my media boy, and I said, "Kwatali pamaningi huko. Next time, also nipeleka kutali kwaso." You know what he said?
Yeah.
We shall bring you here whether you like it or not. That was his answer.
That's good. Thanks to him.
He says, "We shall take you where we think you should go,
yeah,
including this place."
Yeah.
That's a culture we have in our party. Okay? So I say things because I'm leader of the economic front.
Right.
And not to save myself.
Right.
So those who think that I go to community house to go and seek favors, I don't do that. Those who think that I go to community house because I want a job, you are wrong. Those who think that I should not speak to HH because they don't like him, sorry, I'll disappoint you because I don't have to dislike or love the president to deal with him.
Correct.
I just deal with him because he is head of state and I think he has a duty to run the affairs of state of this country.
Correct.
That's all.
Yeah. So maybe if you allow me, sir, let's open phone lines. Let's rope in our listeners and viewers. You may actually put on your headset so that you're able to listen to the callers. So those listening, if you would want to say something to Mr. Wynter Kabimba, the president of the Economic Front, who's our guest today, you can call on 0979 192 485, or you can call on 0955 997 997, 0979 192 485. or 0955 997 997. We already have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Chomba. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Kabimba, Mwabuga.
About Mwape?
About Abamba William Ngenda Kubauren.
Okay, Mr. Ngenda, please go ahead. Be quick with your contribution.
All right, thanks. Bakabimba ndifuna ufunza ija issue ya kai mwezi munakamba bakadibo kushitani respond ya PND alliance yemwezo funo join amae sinizi wanga mwendera pati kuchokera ija time mkambe muzankara na meeting ya central committee yanu sina mbele kwa outcome iliyonse so nezo tempanga mnganjiteko update.
Okay.
All right, thank you Mr. Ngenda. Yeah, so we'll take maybe 2 more calls so that we address the callers once and for all. 0979-192-485 or 0955-1997-997. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, we've lost that caller. Please call again. So Mr. Ngenda is asking, he would like, okay, we've got a caller. Let's pick this call up. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to the Political Podcast. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Stanley Nyirenda.
Mr. Stanley Nyirenda, please go ahead. Be quick with your contribution.
Yeah. I just want to appreciate Mr. Kabimba. He's a very good politician.
Okay.
He's a very good politician. I really like him a lot.
Thank you, Mwanangwa.
He's not like this politician who just politicize.
Yeah.
We just politicize and propaganda.
Right.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wynter.
Thank you, Nyirenda.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Mr. Nyirenda. All right, we've got another call. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Mr. Chomba, this is Zimba John from Kabwe.
Mr. John Zimba from Kabwe. Please go ahead.
Yes, Mr. President, our Secretary General, good morning, sir.
Good morning, John.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, I call you over Secretary General because, I think Ndef Mina Kutipani Echo Mwape, the Mighty Patriotic Fund.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Actually, for me, in your submission, I follow you keenly because, like I've said, somehow I feel connected to you. I follow most of the programs that you go to. In most cases, you come out needs to be patriotic. So you come out as if everything is okay with you. But as much as you explain very well that Zambian people can understand, but somehow you come out as if, everything is okay. You can identify problems like the economic problems that we are facing, the challenges that most Zambians are facing, but still you come out as if, everything is okay for you. I think that's not supposed to be the case because the patriotic Zambian has to make sure that he makes sure that even the neighbor feels the same way that he feels. But for you don't do that. So for me, I feel like it is important for you to come back to the patriotic fund and to make sure, like to make sure to know this country goes in the right direction because for this country to develop, it needs everyone's participation. It needs everyone's contribution. All those people, like together with the ruling party and the opposition, we need to unite for a common good for this country to develop. But for you don't do that now. And you quite know to say your political party cannot form government anytime soon, and you're growing old. For you right now, you have to help the Zambian people. You have to help the Zambian people to develop this country because you're going old and your party cannot form government anytime soon.
Right,
I think this is my contribution.
Thank you very much. All right, let me allow you to, he was quite passionate there. Let me allow you to respond to the 3 callers.
I don't even know what he's saying. I don't even know what he's saying.
He says go back to the Patriotic Front. He still calls you SG because he feels you are fit for that part.
Well, I'm sorry that time is gone.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll never be a member of the PF again.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know which PF Zimba is talking about.
Yeah.
there are 4 factions in PF now, so I don't know which PF he belongs to. The PF that I belonged to myself is not there. So there's nothing to go back to. And I doubt in the next 5 years, especially after these elections, if we are ever going to hear the name PF again.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, he's saying, why don't you join, because your political party. I'm not in EF to become president tomorrow. I'm in EF to build an organization for the future. So if I don't become president of Zambia in EF, I'm sure one day there will be someone from EF who is going to become president of this country.
Right.
So I'm not a selfish man. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it for the good of my colleagues in the party and the country.
Right.
Okay? And he says, you sound like, you are okay. Yes. If you want to speak for myself, yes, at least I can afford a meal. But I've got relatives. And I'm still connected to my people that I know are suffering economically. And my hope is that we can have a better country where even those relatives of mine, friends of mine, and other people that I don't know there can live a better life than what they see today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Tell us your name and...
Very rare that women call.
Yeah, Grace Mutinta calling you within Lusaka.
Madam Grace who?
Mutinta.
Grace Mutinta.
Gamamba ba Grace.
Mwabuga buti ba honorable.
Gaboto ba Grace, mwabuga buti.
Mwabuga gaboto mudala.
Salumba.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Neza kambako chabe ma point ya ngono.
Please.
To our leader there in the studio. In Zambia, what we want right now, it's healthy political parties. Those political parties who can provide checks and balances to the government of the day. Because if we don't have healthy political parties, these political parties, I'm telling you, they are going to destroy this country.
Yes.
Because now in political parties, Zambia right now, they are not helping the country, they are destroying the country. You have to come up with a very good solution. Kuganiza kuti tamene nichita nifuna ninkale musogoleli waziko yi and nifuna nisogolele bantu and nifuna niste develop country ya Zambia. Not you just want to become a leader whereby you have got no solution.
Yes.
You have got no proper solution to the country of Zambia. You just want to come and be a leader and kukondwelesa chabe mala yako na family yako. Tuganizira popa bantu ba Zambia. Why inakamba so? Yeah, there are some things UPND yamene sina step na vintu yamene ya step Mayona, that they don't want even to talk about the things which the UPND government has done good. Once and kukondema. Baka bwela chabe pamaredio bwela chabe mukondema. Once. Now, to those people like us, my widows, chiri na bana bamene students waenda ku school, chikacho lepera kulipira ndalama za ku school. Ya bwela government has to introduce free education. They are still condemning here. It's not healthy. They are congested in my class. But it's I've got my daughter who passed Japa. So, despite being in a conducive in a classroom, then there was days which they were not going to school. Nama young when they were not back, Kuchira Mamenetone, a man, just put out Vanabam billions in Macombon. Then you are free education if a war of teacher. At least we are relieved. Kuri ma social cash transfer abantu bafola ndrama muminzu na mu matauni muno abantu bafola ndrama, they are being relieved somehow.
Right.
Ni bambiri UPND government yamene bachita, but they don't want to talk about it. Bebe chabeya yi uyisana step ichicha so ezofuniko chita so manje yokabwera uzabwera uchitevitani.
Yeah.
So now we need some people honorable monga bali monga imwe so bali na mindset monga imwe ma political parties But at least they can advise the government, they can help the government, so that in future time, I think he can be the next president of this country.
Right. No,
that's what we want. Otherwise, that is my contribution. May God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contribution. We have another caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
The crowd.
Sorry? Hello? Okay, we will lose that call. Take one more call, then we can allow you to answer. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you. This is Peter.
Peter, please go ahead with your contribution. Where are you calling us from?
Within the Saka. Mr. Kabimba, Honorable, good morning.
Good morning, Peter.
Thank you very much. Sir, you are one of the most intelligent and brilliant politicians, sir. From the time you started politics, I'm one of your role model. And I think that you can still contribute immensely in this country. Now, coming to my suggestion or my thinking, if at the end of the year, this year, maybe after August 26, the president thinks of giving you a position to just help him, are you going to take up the position? Because I think that you can still contribute in this country, sir. Thank you very much. That's my question.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. All right, sir, I'll allow you to respond. We had our mother there and also Peter that came through with those contributions and questions.
There is a point which, a question which we didn't answer.
Yes.
Somebody who said, can you please tell me how far you have gone with this UPND?
The alliance, yes. UPND and EF alliance, yes.
I think it's connected to the last question.
Correct. From Peter.
That Peter raises.
Correct.
Okay, and I think let me take this opportunity to answer or to respond to the two comments.
Correct.
Firstly, the talks between UPND and EF are ongoing. Okay. I said 2 days ago on one program that there are questions that we have raised as EF regarding the structure and form of the alliance.
Right.
And what type of documents govern that alliance. Okay. So we are waiting for answers to those questions or clarity to those questions. Okay. Would I take an appointment, after 2021? I said it earlier, that my contribution now to my country is one of guidance, not to look for a job. And you raised this area, Chomba, when you said that, oh no, there are people that say that since you went, in fact, there are people that say that since I went to community house, I've changed. I've not changed. I've not changed. I'm still the same Wynter. If I think that UPND is right, like my sister Mutita says there, I'll say that UPND is right.
Yeah.
Without any form of shame. Because what is right, whether I like it or not. It won't change anything.
Right.
Okay? If the UPND is wrong, I'll tell them you are wrong without blinking my eyes.
Right.
Because, again, it will be a statement of fact that they are wrong. Okay? I also say so to try to save UPND, just like I did with PF. I used to tell PF, there is tribalism in this party, there is corruption in this party. Stop both vices. I said it when I was in PF. I said it to ECL in April 2021 when I was out of PF.
Right.
Because I wanted to save PF. so that it continues to exist in a democracy, so that we don't go back to a one-party state. So the same way I try to advise the PF is the same way I'm advising UPND. Don't allow this cadreism to escalate, because the Zambian people will reject you. The Zambian people will reject you the same way they rejected the PF. So that is what we don't want. Chomba is to go back to a one-party state, to have one dominant political party.
Right.
Okay? But checks and balances are important. And that's what democracy is all about. So that those that are in power don't go to sleep. But also the way we check and balance is important, I think.
True.
The way we check and balance is not to insult one another. It's not to promote tribalism, whose ugly head seems to be rising now in our politics. I warned our people 2 days ago on one program that those leaders, our masogolero bamene mumvera abo bamene bakamba nkani ya mutundu, sibasogolere babwino tentungulu shishisuma. Okay? And we must learn from history. When Yugoslavia broke down after the death of Joseph Tito, Slobodan, a man called Slobodan Milosevic of Serbia, rode on the trump card of ethnicity.
Yeah.
And people died. The Bosnia genocide, where 700,000 Serbian Muslims were killed, is still a scar in the skin of those countries. So when you listen to the current leaders that are emerging, that think that the only way you are going to win an election is to go tribal, to be telling this country how many people you are related to across tribes, to be misleading these, people like this, with information which is not even correct.
True, yeah.
Then you know that we are trading in dangerous
waters.
Okay? There's a TikTok. In fact, there are two TikTok clips.
Yeah.
2 days ago that feature Chishimba Kambwili. I'll be very personal about this. So she's a leader.
Yeah.
In one of them, Chishimba Kambwili says, imwe abantu abakuno kulubemba. His Royal Highness Chitimukulu's wife passed away. And the president didn't come. Kwisa mukulu oshane imwe. Ni president wa shanu. Echo miebera okutira kuno kulubemba bali mikana bali misula. Actually that's the word used. Bali misula kuno. What he doesn't tell the people is this, that in fact the government financed the funeral.
Correct.
Of
the Her Royal Highness.
Her Royal Highness.
Yeah.
And His Royal Highness Paramount Chief Chitimukulu himself acknowledged that fact.
And thanked government.
And thanked the government for that. And Kambwili must go to the people and say the complete opposite. Because he wants his candidate to win the mayoral election in Kasama. Okay? And when you listen to that TikTok video clip, it's purely tribal. Ethnic toxicity. The same offense he committed that threw him into jail. The man is unrepentant. I don't know what type of human being he is. He even misrepresent the fact that I'm a minister abeshire baelefye ku chechi elo chechi yapo chechi baingira mu motoka babwekera mu Lusaka. Wrong. Savage Shimba yesterday said no, in fact they came to say bye to His Royal Highness. The next one, which followed after that, he was again addressing, I think it was a campaign meeting, and this is what he says. He says, bakapwepwe balandira ati nga mwamona ati abasungu balera ndati kapwepwe ali bwino nishitisha ku basungu. Okay? Now, that's not even true. Kapwepwe never said that. The person who said, the day you hear Europeans praising me, just know that I've betrayed you. It was not Kapwepwe, it was Samora Machel. But he distorts that to use Kapwepwe as a figure to promote his ethnicity. Characters like this are dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay? Characters like this. And I'm saying this because, like I said in the other program, my mother is Bemba. My mother is a Chanda. But I don't want to promote Bemba hegemonism. I don't want to promote the spirit that Bembas are more superior and more entitled to govern this country than any other tribe in this country. I think Bembas, Tongas, Lozis, everybody else must be able to govern this country as a collective. But for as long as you have Slobodan Milosevic reincarnating in the form of Kambwili, then you have problems in this country.
Yeah.
Kambwili also doesn't mention that in 2014, March 2014, His Royal Highness, the King of Barosland, the wife died. Boimboy died. In 2014, March 2014, Michael Sata was president. Chishimba Kambwili was the minister in Michael Sata's cabinet.
Yeah.
Michael Sata didn't attend that funeral. Kambwili didn't attend that funeral. But when it is in Bembaland, it must become a political trump card. That is the cheap politics that my sister Mutinda was talking about.
Yeah.
And leaders like this, in my view, should be rejected by the people.
Sir, due to time, we'll have to be winding up, so I'll close phone lines, but I'll give you an opportunity to just tell us, being an election year, we are soon to get into election season once Parliament is dissolved come May. What, in your view, what message would you have for the people of Zambia as we go into election season? And then also, maybe what message do you have for the EF members as their president?
First, let me start with EF members.
Right.
EF members should get geared for elections. Would like to participate in the forthcoming elections as much as possible. So wherever PF members are, they must know that this is an election year.
EF members.
But sorry. Wherever EF members are, I'm saying I don't want to go to PF, but I keep on saying PF. EF members must know that this is an election year, and our participation is important. What do I say to the Zambian people? Unity and peace are paramount.
Yeah.
I remember in 2011, Chomba, I was called to speak to a Commonwealth group of election observers. And they said to me, do you think that there is going to be violence during this election or post-election? Right. I said no. I said Zambians have come to embrace democracy. Zambians have come to religiously believe that you can vote a government into power and you can vote a government out of power if it doesn't deliver to your expectations.
Right.
That's why you don't see Zambians going on the streets like we see in other countries. Zambians simply wait that 5 years will expire and we shall make our judgment rightly or wrongly. But democracy can only thrive where there is unity and where there is peace,
right,
amongst the people of a nation. And those two also can bring about some limited form of development that we expect as a third world country.
Right.
Because then you get people that can come and invest in a small way, create 10 or so jobs. So, it is important that we remain united. As a people, 73 tribes, we are one people. Okay? Like Tito said in Yugoslavia, the slogan must be unity in brotherhood. We are all brothers and sisters as a people.
Right.
We may speak different dialects, but that should not be what should divide us. That in fact the diversity in our linguistic structures should be a form of unity. And that's why I'm saying, Chomba, Zambians must reject all these politicians that think that their politics is anchored on ethnicity and tribalism.
Right. So thank you so much for coming through to the Political Podcast and to our studio here at Powerhouse Media.
Thank you very much, Chomba, for having invited my colleagues and I.
Right. We hope to have you soon.
Sure.
I'm happy that your media director told you in advance, so he's my good friend.
No. He said to me, we shall take you where we want you to go, not where you want to go. So I must have a chat with him after this.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming.
Okay,
all right. So that was Mr. Wynter Kabimba, who is the president of the Economic Front Party and was my guest on today's Political Podcast with what has been an insightful discussion. From me, Yowela Chomba, see you next week on the same program at the same time here at Power FM.
This has been the Political